Alright guys, today we're going to do something I've been meaning to do for a long time. I get this question asked all the time, how to take a window out of a C3 Corvette door. So usually how-to videos don't do that well, but over the long run they get searched for, so it's worth making. We're going to take a window out of this 1981 C3 Corvette today, and I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it. So I've taken many windows out of these cars, A, to sell them, B, to do the window regulator, but also to replace the mirror. So they kind of have to come out for, various things. People take them out to paint the cars, etc., etc. So if you see this mirror, you can't get to it with the window up or down. So if you replace that, you have to replace the window. This window regulator, well, obviously it has to come out. The window has to come out to replace the regulator, which is eventually what I will be doing on this door. But I figured I would talk about removing this window. So it's a fairly simple task. I can usually do it in less than 5 minutes. But there's a catch. The thing is that you have to have the window able to go up and down in order to get the window out. You have to. There's no other way really to do it. So usually, like on this car, it's a running and driving car, so the window, works. So that's not a big deal. But let's say it's a parts car and the window needs to come out, and obviously it's never had a battery in it for years, etc., etc. Well, you can hotwire the motor and move it up and down that way. It's pretty simple. Just, one ground to the door and then 12 volts to either side, and it'll lift it up and down. Hopefully that motor is working. If it's not working for some reason, you can take that motor out and then you can manually lift up the window. So we're going to describe really quick how to do this. It's fairly simple, but the secret to removing the window is you have to remove this chrome trim that runs along the inside. The reason being is there is a roller attached inside this window, which you will see eventually. It's sandwiched in the glass at the bottom corner, and it has to fit in this space in between the door skin and the fiberglass outside of the door, and it really doesn't fit unless this trim is gone. So basically, in a nutshell, before I show it to you, I'm going to tell it. What you need to do is you need to roll the window all the way down. You need to remove these ends of the weather stripping. Then from there, there's 2 screws, 1 and 2, that keep this trim held in place. And then there's little, I don't know what to call them, nubbins that hold the rest of it in. You just pop it out with a screwdriver. That comes out. From there, you have to mark these anti-rattle bumpers 1 and 2 and take those out. And then from there, it's fairly easy. You have a nut right here. There's a track that runs along the top of the regulator and along the bottom of the window. You need to remove the window from that track. So when it's here, and then you have to move this door handle out of the way, lower the window down about 2 inches, and you can get to the second one. From there, you will take a very long pry bar and you'll pop this track off of the stud in the back. You'll lift the window up, and then you'll do the same thing on the front, and then the window will come free. So if that wasn't good enough, I'm going to show you how to do it. So enjoy. Alright, so like I said, step 1 is we need to remove this weather stripping, and this is new, I just put it on. Most cars actually won't have good weather stripping ends like this. So you might be able to skip this step. But to access the little screws on the sides, it needs to come down. So you can just set them down like that. Next, we're going to turn the key on. We're going to roll the window all the way down, like that. And you have a screw right here. Hopefully you're lucky and none of these screws need drilled out or anything like that. You have a screw right here. Don't think you have one in the middle. They're just staples. You have a screw right here. And then you have another screw right here. And this takes no extra time. And then so you have two pieces. You have the rubber and one chrome strip, and then you have two other chrome strips under that for the trim. So you can see right here, this is what I'm doing. I'm popping these little nubs out of the door. See, like that one, they just pop out just like that. Here in a minute, you will see why I bother to do this. A lot of people don't do this, and they have trouble. Okay, there's one, and this other one is number 2. That one's glued in there. Alright, so there you go, 2 pieces just like this. They come out. And you can see just how much more room there is to get this window out. So the camera didn't want to work, of course. I removed the bumpers. There was one here and one here. I marked where they were. This is what they look like. You just take the bolt out and then you fish them out. Remove the bumpers. I can't stand it when this camera doesn't record. Anyway, next we're going to focus on the window removal itself. So one thing I forgot to mention when I did the main overview is you have to take this bumper out, this track stop. It's right there. That again, just mark it, pull it out, it slides out the top, and you're done. All the bolts in this thing are 7/16. Alright, and now we have to remove the door handle. And that is going to be a 10 mil because 1981. Whenever they went to the 78 and up interior, for some reason they decided they need to use all their 10 millimeter bolts on the door handles. If I was smart, I would have just got a little socket for my impact instead of that, but there it is. For that, you can just slide up out of the way. It needs to just sit like there. You need to be able to get access into here. Next, we're going to roll the window up. Try not to scratch it. And so what you're looking for is that right there. You line it up so you can get your socket on it. And take that out. You don't have to worry about marking these ones because they really only go in one way. And that's just a 7/16, just like everything else is in the door. Then after that, we roll the window all the way up so we can get to that one right there. Do you remember the part where I told you it was important we take the trim out? Now you will find out why. So next we're going to actually physically remove the window. It's really easy. I have a big pry bar like this, and we're going to pop the stud from the window out of the track. You can see in there. So you have the track right here, and there's a stud going through it. You're going to take this, you're going to pop it off, and once you get that off, you're going to lift the back end of the window up, Do the same thing on the front. And then the issue you're gonna have is there's a roller, you can see it, down in that track that will come up. You see it right there? It'll come up. And then you will need to lightly and nicely pry between the fiberglass door and the metal door skin just a little bit, and then it'll pop straight out. So I'm taking my pry bar, prying out, and so here's that stud that was in that track, okay? And then you're gonna wanna put this down somewhere where you can reach it. Next, you're gonna wanna lift the window up. You can kind of do this with your fingers, so I just popped that stud out of there, and now the window's free. See how it moves up and down like that? And now what you wanna do is just lightly pull it up. Remember, you might have some goo in that window track that'll prevent you from going all the way up. Because remember, the roller doesn't go all the way up. Normally, it hits that stop. So here's the roller. The issue you're gonna have, you go on this other side of the window, is this stud on the back of the roller. Can you see it in there? It hits the outside of the door. And with that trim in there, it's pretty much impossible to get to. It's so hard to film this. There's a stud sticking out from that roller, and that's where the pry bar comes in. Now in this case, I just don't have enough room to get that stud to clear the door. And sometimes you have to do this and sometimes you don't, but this track right here is movable. You can move it in and out, and this much space will give you that amount. So again, we're gonna mark these bolts which hold the track in place, and with them loose, the track can move this way, which will give you enough room. Sometimes you have to do that, sometimes you don't. I don't know if you saw it, but that whole track just shifted back. And that should be what we need to get this out. Alright, so with that little pole, I made it past the door edge, and now just like that. That's how you move the glass. So here's the roller that I was talking about, and here's that back part that gets stuck on the inside of the door. That one doesn't really matter. And then these are the two studs that hit that window track. Let's go back to the door. I'll show you this track right here. You can see that track that goes all the way across. And then here's the two bolts that we loosened up to move this window track in and out. But that extra little bit makes it so that stud will go past right here. Yeah, that's not too bad of a job. I usually take a little bit more care when I do a customer car versus like a parts car. Like if the door is already messed up or it's rusty, you can be a little bit more physical with it. Again, a little easier to do with two people. You can have somebody, kind of shimming the glass, and then you can have somebody, gently just prying those two parts of the door apart. But that's the best way to take a window glass out. I hope it helps somebody, and I hope you guys got use of this video. So now you know my secret.